G'day, ladies and gentlemen, back with Steve Terry. What a wonderful chat it was. Part one. I was just saying off air to Steve about how it's great to do these interviews and find a lot out about the person we're interviewing, but also relating it back to yourself and your experiences. And a lot of the stuff you were talking about, especially the healing, really interested me because of the way I was healed by Red Horse and a few other people spiritually. And you explaining the process is really, really cool. So we want to talk about things that go bump in the night. And those are the things that really interest me. Nothing like that scares me. They go, oh, Michael Myers and Freddy Krueger. And, you know, I dress up as Bray Wyatt, the Fiend. God rest his soul, he's up there. He might have helped me through. I dress up as a character from WWE. You probably got a lot of WWE over there. By the name of the
There
Fiend.
is some, yeah.
Yeah, so I do the cosplay and dress up as Bray Wyatt, the Fiend. But on a serious note, we talk about the spirit world and how those guides and the spirits that come through. We talk about people doing seances. I mean, it's a joke to do a seance. So it's not a joke. Here we go. Yep, we're I mean, people go talk about those Ouija boards and all those things. They go, oh my God, I'm scared. Look, they're not scary things if you know how to use it, but you got to have a trained professional. Things can happen. Things do go bump in the night, don't they? We're talking about Halloween and all those things. Things do go bump in the night. Now? It looks like it's real. I can see your eyes lighting up when we talk about this stuff, Steve. Look, I'll leave it up to you, mate. Let's talk a bit about that. What? Go for it.
Yes, things do get bump in the night. That is the thing. I mean, again, we are a spiritual being having an earthly experience, and once we shed our earthly coat, we're then drifting out into the astral plane and the earthly plane as well.
Yep.
So, I going back into the mid 80s. I used to be a DJ. In the UK, we called it a mobile DJ. So I would go out and do that to a pub venue and do an 18th birthday party or a 50th birthday party, and I'd be playing the music and things. So, excuse me. Right. So I'd got a microphone. And back in the day, back in the 80s, hi-fi systems were quite big. So you've got a record player on the top.
Yep.
Then you'd have a radio tuner, and then you'd have a double tape deck, and then you'd have space underneath. So, being about 18, me and two friends, it's going to be close to October-ish, dark evenings in the UK. So we pulled this stack system, took the speakers off, pulled the stack system into my parents' kitchen, and plugged the microphone in, turned the gain really all the way up. One of my mates, Kevin, he was sat with some headphones on. So we plugged some headphones on. He was sat with the headphones on like this, with his elbows resting on a big table. And we're talking a 5-foot table by 4 foot that also opened in the middle as well to make it even about a 7-foot table. Really big and heavy table. So prior to that, we've done a little bit of a seance. We've sort of cut out some letters and got a glass and is anybody there? Anybody there? Blah, blah, blah. Nothing happened. So we're thinking, we'll turn the lights out, plug the headphones in. Let's plug the headphones in, get the microphone going. So I'm sat to the right of the table, resting my arm on the table. Kevin's in front, resting his elbows on the table, and Richard's at the other side, again, resting his arm on the table. Nobody got their feet or hands underneath or anything like that. So we're inviting in whoever was there. We didn't know at the time, we were being silly. So we're inviting in, saying, anybody there, come and join us, blah, blah, blah. We were trying to get something called EVP, electronic voice phenomena. So back in, when I mentioned the magazine that I used to read back in 1982-ish, it came out in the 80s, there was a little 7-inch vinyl single on there with sample voices that people have recorded allegedly from the other side. So ghosts, recorded ghost voices. And that's what we were trying to do. This is probably about 84-ish.
You were doing records backwards, were you? Like they say.
No.
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, that's rubbish. But yeah, we will.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So after a sort of 10, 15 minutes, we were getting a little bit bored because nothing's happening. And then we, come on, do something, show us a light. put your voice on the recording, because we were recording on tape as well.
Oh,
And
it's got back. It's great.
yeah, back in the day. So, and then suddenly the table jumped off the floor. It went bang, sort of really big. It must have jumped an inch or so. And arm went up, and it like, what was that? Turned the lights on, turned off the recording, packed everything up, and then we went away. So we went our separate ways that night. We were absolutely petrified. Yes,
Oh,
yes. For want of a better word.
Fair enough.
So yeah, things do happen, and you do need to be careful who you invite in. And that's the thing. You wouldn't open your front door in a busy city and say, anybody that wants to come on in, come on in. It doesn't matter who you are, come on in, because you don't know who you're going to get. It could be a scary biker. It could be a little old lady that's lovely and pleasant, or it could be a knife-wielding idiot. You don't know who you're inviting in, and that's the same with seances and inviting in spirit if you don't do it in a controlled way.
Yeah, it's a case of understanding, the power of the spirit world, of course, as we know, and there's obviously the paranormal activity videos that came out a couple of years ago. They were fascinating, and obviously with social media coming up, we can see a lot more stuff coming up. I mean, we can go down the Miami, down to the Miami saga. I don't know if you've seen it in the UK. We'll go on to that a bit later, but they're saying there's an alien invasion over there. So we'll leave it at that. That's just a general comment, but we'll go from there. But the whole point of it is we don't really realize we are getting more and more connected to the spirit world.
The energies are rising. So,
would you say the veil's going off too, there, Steve? Would you say like we always say the veil goes off? We talk about Halloween. The veil always come, and the path between the wall between the spirit world sort of thins. But do you feel the veil is really coming off us, and us as white lighters, I'll call white lighters, or ascendees, or whatever you want to call, are ascending that way, and a lot of people are finding their egos getting more fueled, but then they're getting an understanding of the spirit world sort of working upon them as well. Sounds really crazy.
Yeah. No. Yes, the for all intents and purposes, there's more light workers now in and around the world than what there ever has been. So the whole vibration of the earth is a lot higher, and spirit are higher vibrating beings. So if we as a conscious collective are raising our vibration, we are in effect getting closer to the other side, where we are thinning the veil. So yes, totally agree.
Absolutely. So you're keep going. Sorry.
Yeah, no, we're thinning the veil. That there's a lot more communication going on. That there's people that are communicating with ETs as well through meditation and whatever. There's a guy called Stephen Greer who's calling the CE5 Close Encounters of the sort of fifth kind, where we instigate communication with ETs and things. So yeah, through meditation, just like we would if we were wanting to contact someone in the spirit world, in heaven, or in the spirit world.
Yeah, the spirit world. So we're connecting. So what you're saying is we're connecting to for use of a better word, alien beings, for the use of a better word. So we can also ET, so we can connect on that level through what we practice in the spirit world. So we're talking about, any type of communication. So you can communicate through, those Ouija boards, all those things. Is that where you're going?
As well as, yes. Yeah. I mean, that's certainly cool. Through a Ouija board. Yeah. There are, there's a lady called Esther Hicks. Oh, she channels.
That rings a bell. That word, name rings a bell. Yeah, keep going. Yeah.
Esther and Jerry Hicks. They started in the 80s, and she, not necessarily, is not an ET, of course, but she channels through a higher vibratory being called Abraham. So, but they're not from the spirit world as we would class the spirit world to be. They're a higher dimensional being. And there's a guy who channels through something called Bashar.
Sure.
Uh,
Okay.
there's loads of them. There's loads of them. Just have a look for channeling. It's pretty interesting stuff.
Channeling
Um,
Hades, is that what you said?
no, channeling.
Or
It's
just
pretty.
channeling. Sorry, I couldn't.
Yeah,
Yeah, sorry
channeling.
about that.
Yeah,
Just channeling.
yeah.
It's an interesting concept because I mean I think are people in your opinion with all that we do and we're all doing the same work but we're all different. Excuse me, sorry, I just got to we're all doing the same work but we're sort of like I call it the super friends like we're I do a lot of symbolism with regards to yeah, the cartoons is a big message for me. So you got the Justice League Hall of Justice, and you got all these super friends in there, and that's what we're sort of developing now. Everyone's got a special gift to give to the world, and we're all coming together as one. If you get where I'm going, we're all got our own. You got
Mm,
Batman, you got Superman, you got Hawkman, Splash, whatever. So Wonder Woman, whatever. But we've all got those special powers. And I think, in within that, especially the X-Men, throwing I think the X-Men was such an eye opener with regards to people who are different. Doesn't matter if they're, I'm not saying they're, the Beast or they're Cyclops or whatever. We're all different in some way. We're all our own X-Men. You know what I mean? In our own way, especially what we could consider that. If you get where I'm going.
mm. Certainly, there are a lot of new teachers coming out, so to
Yes.
speak.
Yep.
Obviously not with supernatural powers per se, but yes, they've got
Typical
different messages,
knowledge.
different knowledge, different messages to come out. Yeah, and different people will be able to appreciate the different aspects of different people. So one person is going to struggle to talk to everybody, every demographic.
Yes.
Whereas if you have certain, lots of different people, they're going to attract a certain, let's call it clientele or a certain audience. So yeah, I think that's
And that,
pretty
and that
clever.
and that's the key point of why I do what I do because a different voice, people will attract to a different voice because they'll resonate with that.
Yes.
And to give the people a time to speak about it, because I mean, the platform that we're being given here is amazing. I'm talking to you over in I'm talking over to you in the UK, and I've made so many great friends around the world um, about looking at our spiritual journey and what we're here to do and understanding universal law. Aaron Doherty, the full-time purpose group, which we all joined. I mean, it wasn't for Victor and Aaron, we wouldn't be doing this. They gave us the opportunity and the platform to actually come together as a community and work together. So yeah. Um, so your interest is in the paranormal? Would I say would you have a keen interest in the paranormal?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. All of it. Spirituality, the paranormal, living life to the max.
Tell us
You
all
know.
about. Tell us where. Okay, I'll put a question to you. So we have people on the come on the podcast to talk about where they're going to go in life and what they bring to what their superpower is, what their purpose or what their superpower is in going forward into this new world that we're creating. We're brought on this earth to work on a new world. Where do you sit? Where if we were to go, right, someone comes to me, I've got this problem or I've got this situation. I go, right, Steve's your man in the UK. What would you describe yourself as and what is your superpower and what do you want to give to the community? What do you want to give to the community?
Crikey. Knowledge. Knowledge is power.
Yep.
That's the thing. That's it. Just more knowledge about where we come from, as in we are spiritual beings
Yep.
having an earth experience. Um, when we decide to reincarnate,
Yep.
we have certain things that we want to accomplish, certain experiences we want to go through. Some of those could be um, what some people will class as negative experiences. Some of those experiences are going to be positive experiences.
Yep.
Again, life's about balance, and
Yep.
it's about bringing ourselves into sort of into the middle of that balancing
Yep.
rod.
So you believe that? So you be that you're sort of like that. So here's you're that middle bit here between them, their old person, the new person, and understanding where they're at, and you're the voice and you're the leader in their world that they connect to make that transition and understand where they're at. That'd be fair call.
Sort of, yeah, I suppose. I mean, giving people knowledge. For example, we live our lives sort of 80 to 90% on our subconscious behavior. And that's because the brain has evolved to save energy, to conserve energy.
Yes.
So the subconscious is where we react to things, knee-jerk reactions. And once you realize that you are living 80 to 90% of the time on your subconscious behaviors, for example, when you're driving, once you first learn to drive, you are so conscious of your environment, of what you're doing while you're trying to learn to drive. You're aware of everything. But once the autonomic nervous system kicks in and you've learnt the programs of driving, you can do it nigh on most of the time on automatic pilot. And that's what we're living our lives on, 80 to 90% of the time on automatic pilot. And it's about waking up to that. A lot of people will say, oh, I'll be happy when I get my new job, or I'll be happy when I get a new partner, or I'll get a partner.
For
Or
me,
I'll be
that
happy.
for me that one, just a comment there, Steve, what you just said. For me, when that's like when it all happens. So you're still living in that subconscious, and then for me, when I work with the shadow self with other people, then I actually look at it and go, okay, why are you saying that for? What's going on? What is the emotion going through? What's the trauma? I use the word trauma. It's a catchword that you went through, or what's the life situation that you went through and who was involved. So there's a lot more you can really go into those. Just that, oh, I'll be happy when. So that's still like a vibrate. You can see the vibration goes down, can't you?
Yeah, definitely. You're always looking for something to make you happy, but you never get there. I'll be happy when I go on holiday, once I get to, abroad, or once I get in the sun in the UK, with it being the weather's sort of never fantastic. So we like to go abroad to Spain or Europe where it's a lot warmer. So people are always saying, yeah, I'm going to, I'm going to be happier once I've had my holiday. But then you're not, because you're looking for something else to make you happy. Whereas the only person that can make you happy is you and your emotions and how you react to the situation. So if you're living 80 to 90% on automatic pilot, you are reacting to the people and the events around you. You're just going to be living the same life. You're still going to be looking for something to make you happy no matter what you're doing, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. 'Cause you realize, and only look, I'll be honest with you, Steve. It's only happened the last 6 months for me that I've really tried to turn my life, turn things around. Even though you react, you own your reaction. Don't get me wrong, you own it. And there's certain ways and certain things when you're in the spiritual world, and there's people's values, people who they are. You can accept them who they are, but you got to put up boundaries. So there's a lot of stuff that you sort of manipulate. You can't just go, oh, this is the way it is. When you're in that spiritual realm, you sort of understand that it's about you, but then you got to have consequences. They've got to have consequences for their behavior, because you still got to have boundaries, because you can't have boundaries in this world, because otherwise, mate, there's no point. And there's a lot of stuff there that you can really foresee and understand. But it is a big job. I don't think people really understand what we really have gone through, isn't it? Like, and what sometimes we have to deal with in a lot of ways.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, again, life is about the experience, and it's about learning and enjoying life, the life that we have. For example, when I went on my first holiday to Greece in 1984, I think it was, 82. And you're looking around because it's all new and you've not seen it before. You think, oh, this is nice. And it might be a dump. There might be trash all over the floor, weeds and all sorts. But you think, oh, this is nice because it's new. It's a fresh experience. So then you think, oh, look at that distance. Oh, look at that mountain over there. That looks really nice. Oh, look at that. There's a tree-lined road here. This is, oh, I love this. I can hear the birds singing and the grasshoppers croaking and all sorts. So yeah, and because it's new. And once you become familiar with things, you then go on to automatic pilot. And you forget about the things that are around you that look nice and that look good and that's fresh and things like that. So it's all about becoming aware, becoming mindful of where you are. A few years later, after I'd been on holiday, and seeing all this lovely vistas and things like that, I'm thinking, well, I actually live in a pretty good place myself, but I've not noticed it because I was brought up and born and bred here.
Mm.
You don't notice it. You don't notice that I'm walking the dog and I'm looking between down the road, and the road goes down, and then there's a big valley and it goes up again. I'm thinking, that's not actually a bad view. That's a decent
Yeah.
view. And I've never noticed it before because we're on autopilot all the time.
It's a
We're
new
living
vibration.
life.
It's a new vibration and a new stimulus, isn't it, Steve? Like you go,
Yeah, yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
anything new is fantastic. I mean, we always get that, oh yeah, new relationship, new person. You have that,
That's right.
you
Honeymoon
have that
effect. Yeah,
honeymoon. We'll call it the honeymoon effect on any type of situation. You go, oh, this is grouse, and then you sit back and go, oh, rightio, hang on a minute, or wow, this is good. I might experience it again.
Mm. The problem is when we become familiar with it, and that's when the brain sort of puts those experiences away into the subconscious, and
Yeah,
we don't no longer see the beauty of the things that's around us. So by becoming mindful of our thoughts, feelings, and actions, and what's around us as well, we can then start to see the beauty and bring joy, more joy back into our life, and feel happy now rather than feeling happy when you get to the pool or onto the beach. You can be happy where you are now.
it comes down to when or now.
So
And I think
now, that's right.
a big thing being a teacher. I mean, I don't know if it's happening in the state in UK. We've got Chris over there who's the hypnotherapist. He sort of, I think he mentioned it that, and I mentioned it to him. Mindfulness now is a catchword, but they don't really understand. Oh, you got to go. What do you do to become mindful? They go, oh, we got look at what the schools got mindfulness clubs, right? But are they really teaching mindfulness? It's just a catchword. Whereas in the
Yeah.
spiritual realm, is what we do is go mindfully. We know, right? You go within. You have to feel within. It's a process. It's more. It's not a catchword. It's a process of becoming you and understanding what you and me are actually doing. Is that does that resonate with you?
Yeah, certainly. Yes. Yes. I mean, the basic principles of mindfulness is being aware of where you are and what you're doing and the things around you. So if you're walking down the street, instead of just sort of walking down the street on automatic pilot, sort of daydreaming away in your own mind, have a look around. Have a look at the grass that's growing and think, that does actually look nice. Listen to the birds that are singing. Have a look in the trees to see if you can see birds. I know Australia's got some fantastic wildlife
We have,
compared to
yeah.
the UK.
You see
Yeah,
some,
yeah.
you see some kangaroos?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, the kookaburras. And
Yeah.
yeah,
I've
yeah,
got kangaroos up around. It's funny. I make the joke, especially the people in overseas, especially my friends in America. They go, "Where's the kangaroos?" They go in the backyard. Pretty much
yeah,
in the back
yeah,
paddock in my back paddock. There's crap loads of them. They go,
when
oh
when
my
my
god! Is
friend,
that? Oh my god! Oh my god! They go, yeah,
yeah,
you know.
yeah. When my friends emigrated to Australia 10, 15 years ago, they bought a place in Jimboomba about 5 years ago, and a new build. It's just north of Brisbane. And
Okay.
again, we went there, and on the first 2017 is when 2018 when they'd moved in. 2017 we went and saw the empty plot. 2018 when we went across. And there's kangaroos everywhere. They're on the back garden, running up the hill, and all sorts. Absolutely fantastic. Loved it. Loved it. So,
Yeah.
and but that new experience, it was fantastic. It was really good, really pleasing, and it really hot. The joy that we enthuse because of that event is fantastic. But we can have that every moment of not every moment of every day, but
I
most
get
of the
where you're
time.
going there.
Yeah,
It can be a constant in our lives, but because of, as I say to you, I believe disconnection from the earth and having all these damn stresses put upon us by certain individuals, which we'll go into that later. But and we do have to still live in the physical world. I mean, anyone can say, oh, I'm going to live by this way. We still have to live in this physical world in some way and coordinate ourselves, which what we're doing into what we're ascending, but still planting our feet firmly here because we still have to live here. Because I mean, it's just the
yeah,
way it is. It's just the way it is.
yes, yes. but it's being mindful is more about living in the now, as in seeing what's around you now, rather than again, if you're walking down the beach and you're sort of kicking in the sand, if you're daydreaming, you're not appreciating what's around you
I'm going to write
because
that down.
your mind is somewhere else.
I'm going to write that down. Keep going. Sorry about that.
Yeah. So your mind is elsewhere. It's reflecting inwards. If you're doing a journey of reflection, that's fine. But if you're just daydreaming about a song or the next girlfriend or boyfriend or the next meal, then you're not really living in the moment by appreciating the sound of the ocean, the breeze and the warmth and things like that. If you can feel the joy from that and you start to learn how to do that on a daily basis, you can live life so much more fulfilled. And earlier we were talking about sympathetic resonance. If you're at a higher vibration because you're happy, because you're in love with the environment that you're in, and you're getting pleasure and joy from seeing the birds and the grass and the sand and the ocean and etc., then other people's negative or lower vibration won't affect you as much. You can bounce back quicker. So if you are that someone's done an emotional scale of 0 to 1,000, so getting up to the 80s and 90s is now an impossible unless you're somebody in, I don't know, a Buddha of some description. So joy, what we would class as sort of euphoria, is probably in the 80s and 90s. So everyday joy, the honeymoon effect, when you're feeling in love with someone, you're looking at probably 600, 700. So if you're depressed, you might be in the 400s. And if you're suicidal, you might be in the 200s. So getting from a 200 vibration, let's call it, for want of better, emotional state, to a joyous 700, you can't do it. You can't do it in one leap of joy. It doesn't work, very rarely anyway. So it's about making those little incremental steps, going up the ladder to fulfillment and joy and happiness. So going from depression, by changing the way that you think and by appreciating the nature that's around you or anything that's around you, you can go from sort of depression to feeling sad. And then you can go from feeling sad to feeling angry about the position that you've been in. And then once you're feeling angry, there's some emotion there. So then you can start to move up the ladder again from anger to acceptance, from acceptance to appreciation to joy, and you're climbing up the ladder, the vibrational ladder, one rung at a time. Instead of trying to get from a depressed state to a really happy state. So when I'm talking about mindfulness and things, I'm not on about sort of jumping from a totally depressed, I've got nothing to live for state of mind to I'm on top of the world, I've got everything to live for. Jumping up those, it does take time, and it can take 6, 8, 12 months to do that. But once you become aware of your thoughts, once you start thinking to yourself, one of my little phrases is, for each and every thought you have, ask yourself, is this a satisfying thought or an unsatisfying thought? And if it's an unsatisfying thought, change it to something that is satisfying.
There's your choices. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. So once you become aware of your thought patterns, you can then make a decision to change your state of being. You can change it from a feeling unhappy to being happy. And again, moving up the ladder a little rung at a time. So what I do is, if I'm on a and I get on a downer all the time, like most people do, somebody will say the wrong thing and it winds me up, and I'm thinking, right, okay, don't want to do that, don't want to think those thoughts. So I'm feeling unhappy, I'm feeling angry at someone.
That's huge awareness, though. I'm still coming to a point where, as I said, working with the shadow and my own shadow with that is you react to a certain way, and you get a reaction. It might be justified in certain ways. I mean, there's certain might be justified, not in a bad way, like you're going to do anything bad or anything. But you can see the justification in. And the worst thing I think with is that, Steve, sorry, and apologies for cutting you off there, but it's important to understand that this is where the catch is with regards to people crossing the line or not having boundaries or or disrespecting you. You sort of have to
Oh yeah, yeah.
find that whole part of the balance of where it is, but shows their character, I guess, in some ways, isn't it?
Sometimes you do have to.
Actions speak louder than
Yeah,
words.
yeah. Sometimes you do have to be reactive and tell someone sorry, but that's unacceptable. I'm not putting up with it in whatever shape, way, or form you want to do it. I mean, some people don't understand words. There are some people that just understand emotion, and you have to get in. I'll say in their face to make a point sometimes, as in, don't do that to me, blah 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 blah. But if you then rein yourself in, if you then start to think, well, this is an unsatisfying thought, I need to change it to a satisfying one. If you're in a situation where someone's shouting at you because you've done something wrong, then you're going to have to take it on the chin and get on with it. But if you're on your own and you're starting to think unsatisfying thoughts, that's where I was leading rather than in a confrontational situation. So if you're on your own and you're sitting there watching the TV and you start to have unsatisfying thoughts, if you can then start to learn how to change them, then you will increase your happiness levels on a day-to-day.
Absolutely.
And it does take a lot of effort and work.
It does. Yeah. It does, Steve. I think I'm recognizing, that's why I work with the shadow a lot, because you recognize where those things come from and the recurring patterns, recurring
it's
emotions.
all learned behaviors.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
Behaviors. And we learn these patterns of behavior. Majority of them are from 3 months before we're born until about the age of 7. The brain waves that the state of mind that we're in is more of a hypnotic state.
Yep.
And if you've ever been to a hypnotist or a hypnotherapist, they will take you down into the hypnotic state, and you can be anybody.
Well, I tell you, we've got one. We've got one in the UK, Chris Ponetny.
Yeah.
He did an interview. If you look on our channel, big plug for us and him. Check on our channel on Spotify and YouTube, and this will go on YouTube as well, Spotify. Check on him, and he talks about this stuff.
Yeah. Okay?
Yeah. Physical Field LTD, I think it is, if you go on there. But if you look up Chris, just go into my channel, Journey Whitefeather, and type in Chris, hashtag, or search Chris, and you'll find his podcast, and he talks exactly what you've been talking about.
Yeah, the first 7 years is when we get programmed into the person that we are, that we're going to become. And after the age of 7, we're absorbing, you're not learning the things from the people around you. You're absorbing them. You're absorbing their energy. So you're absorbing, you're learning things from your parents, from your siblings, from your peers, from teachers at school, and from authority figures as well. So these are all getting absorbed into your subconscious, into your patterns of behavior. And the only way after the age of 7 to learn something new is by hypnotherapy or repeating things. So we have to repeat things to learn how to do something.
Oh, so like play guitar, driving, driving, whatever.
Reprogram. And it's all about, once you know that, once you realize that, 80 to 90% of the time we're living on automatic pilot, and they're learnt behaviors and learnt patterns. Once you realize that, you can then start to unravel those and start to learn new patterns. Again, being mindful about your thought patterns. So for each and every thought you have, ask yourself, is it a satisfying thought or an unsatisfying thought? If it's unsatisfying, try and imagine that you're walking down the beach, hearing the waves crashing on the beach, things like that. So it's the
excuse me.
It's all about practice. Practice makes efficiency.
Practice efficiency, and then you've got awareness and all those other things that and also creating a safe space and a good mentor to actually help you go through that. And I think, and I said, look, as I said, catchwords, mindfulness, life coaching, it's all catchwords for me. It's great to be a life coach. Yeah, great. What are you offering? Not well, exactly what you just said made more relevant than some of the people I've seen online. And I mean, we've all seen this. It's all catch. I don't care what anyone says. The only one you listen, I mean, I love Tony Robbins, and he just talks the way it is. He's down the line. down the line tells you how it is with what it is, and you can actually understand where he's coming from. Yeah, look,
Yeah,
at the end of the
yes.
day, it's all perspective too, with regards to we still have to make a living and all those. That's fine if you understand that, but if you look at the value of what you get from someone and the value you put upon yourself and what you give, and we're all still learning that at the moment. Steve, I'm gonna have to call this. We've got about a minute and a half left. What I want you to do is tell me and the viewers where they can find you, websites, social media, go.
Website, stephenterry.co.uk, Steven, terry.co.uk. We've got another website called the Mystical Arts Academy on Facebook as well. You can do a search for me, Steve Terry, on there. I'm on there as well. Instagram, I think it's Steve Terry _ Mystical Arts. So lots of different places.
Fantastic. We'll get that. What we'll do is if you can send me that information, we'll have it at the end of both videos and at the start of both videos, so they can hit you up and get some more knowledge. And Steve, it's been an
Sounds good.
absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on board on Journey of a Whitefeather's chat with superstars of the world, as I should call it that way. But it's been, yeah, I mean, it's a wonderful thing to connect. And thank you so much for being involved. And
Yeah, thank you. I really enjoyed it. Thanks, Jake. Really,
no
really enjoyed
worries.
it.
And we'll look forward to the next episode of a chat with the superstars of the world with Jay as a part of the 11 Spiritual Transit podcast and Journey of a Whitefeather live on YouTube, Spotify, and social media. You can find us everywhere. Thanks so much, Steve, for being involved. And of course, we always do this send off from my hero, Bret the Hitman Hart, and obviously Jackie Lyons. She loves Bret the Hitman Hart, a WWE superstar who always says, "Get up in the morning and be the best there is, best there was, and best there ever will be." Thanks a lot, Steve. We will talk to you soon. Thanks again, and look forward to seeing you back with an interview next week or so. Take care. See you later,
Bye for
guys.
now.
Bye bye.
Cheers. Bye.